I want to talk about the current healthcare system. I think the fundamental challenge is what we currently call healthcare. In my opinion, it's not healthcare because it's a system designed for treating people with all kinds of illnesses. It's more about what I call a reactive model where what essentially is happening is we are waiting for a particular disease, a particular condition to come up, and we then go to the doctor, then go to the hospital, and then we know a procedure or any kind of condition is managed. Now, this system, while has worked successfully for all these years and has been able to increase the life expectancy from where it was to now in certain countries to even 80 and 90, I think the fundamental problem is the 7 billion people who are living on this planet now cannot depend on the traditional system. And once again, the problem is very simple. The reactive system is not really working towards solving the root cause, what is causing all the healthcare issues. And I think if you have to reimagine healthcare, you need to start addressing the core problems of the behaviors which are leading to the symptom and the problem. Currently, we are all trying to deal with the problem while the behavior and the symptoms are not really addressed at all when it comes to the situation. Talking about the system itself, the healthcare system, I mean, I'm sure you have all been to a doctor or a hospital in India. You know the system has a lot of silos. You know, the medical reports, departments, I mean, the whole system is just not designed to work together. And then on top of that, there are many conflicts. The whole system is conflicted. I don't know how many of you can see this, but this is an ad in a newspaper which is advertising 50% discount on brain tumor surgery. Yes, 50% off on brain tumor surgery with conditions applied that they can withdraw this particular offer maybe even while the operation is going on. So this is the problem fundamentally of healthcare, and I'm sure you must have seen ads on radio and print talking about open heart surgeries at 50% off. And the problem is that the conflicted system is giving these messages to consumers who are thinking, great, if I have brain tumor, I have an offer which I can go and avail. While that is not what healthcare was ever designed to be. If you look at the whole system once again, it's really crazy. Last year, we did a study of over 200,000 people and asked them about the trust in healthcare, that do you trust the system? 9 out of 10 Indians said they do not trust the healthcare system. And in fact, we also kind of surprised that at least it was not 10 out of 10, but yeah, 9 out of 10 is still equally bad. And I think the fundamental problem is that if there is a system which you don't trust, even if you pour billions of dollars in it, it is not going to change the result. You need to reimagine how the healthcare system itself needs to be. There was another very interesting thing. We asked the people that who do you trust in healthcare? And that was a very, very, kind of not surprising, but a very interesting study and result. The 3 people which most people studied were either Bollywood, Babas, or Bawarchis. So these were the people we look up to. And of course, I'm not saying there's anything wrong in what they are saying. But for an average Indian, they are more likely to take an advice from a Baba or Akshay Kumar than a doctor, because we all want to do second opinions and third opinions and fourth opinions. And it is no surprise that, we have brands like Patanjali now dominating the scene. It's fundamentally the trust issue. And it's amazing to see how the entire medical fraternity and the system has been out of this. And I think and this has to change. And there is a change going to happen, but I think this is the current scenario. And the solution to this, and the reality is that diabetes, cholesterol, cancer, hypertension, all these are becoming epidemics. Believe me, and the medical system is not geared to handle this. That's the big problem. While we talk about the young Indians, the average age being young and all that, and all the young change makers over here, in 5 to 10 years, these young change makers will all become pre-diabetic. They will all have healthcare issues. And the problem is that everybody believes that the solution is very simple. The solution is some kind of a pill which it is not. There is a huge shortage when it comes to doctors, beds in hospitals. The entire medical infrastructure is just not designed to scale. At the rate at which we are producing doctors and nurses, the system is not going to adopt to the huge challenge which is going to come up. And that's where the whole challenge lies. So here is the whole problem. We are going to have millions of people with all kinds of health issues and a system which is not going to be ready to gear up to this challenge. And as this thing becomes bigger, we know the expensive. This is also at the same time becoming more expensive and complicated. And as we look at the system, the solution is kind of very interesting. And from, again, somebody who comes from the world of gaming, I didn't believe that the solution lies in a very simple thing as a pill. So I think the fundamental challenge over here is I believe health is not necessarily a problem of information or access. It's a problem of motivation. Most people know they should not be drinking, smoking, eating fried food. However, what they lack is the motivation, the will to do it. Some people do it well, some people can't do it well. So if you have to build a system, it needs to focus on how do you motivate the people, how do you create policy around that and changing the behavior rather than trying to look at and treating the output of the system. And I think there's a lot of interesting thing going on this particular front. And to start with, pill is not the solution. Medical world, they are working on amazing pills and amazing things, but the reality is if you're type 2 diabetic, the pill or insulin is only going to subside your sugar levels. You have to change your lifestyle to completely get rid of the type 2 diabetes, which, by the way, is completely, to a large extent, manageable just by lifestyle changes. But people are not doing that. They're all popping pills. In a country like India, we know there's a huge problem of self-medication too, where people are just prescribing themselves all kinds of medicine. So it's a very complex situation because people want to go for shortcuts and pop pills for everything. So let me ask you a question over here, since all young people out here. What do you think is the world's biggest health app? Any names, any ideas? The biggest health app in the world. So let me give you the answer since we are here. The biggest health app in the world is Pokemon Go. This one app was responsible for making more people walk and run in the world than any other health app or system combined. Forget that. Recently, the Pope has launched a Pokemon Go clone to get more people to go to churches. So, I mean, that's really the power of gamification and behavior modification, that if applied to the right kind of behaviors, we can make them go to Pokemon Go, or hopefully we are going to see more church attendance now that there is a game. And I think that's where the healthcare system needs to start working on. So I have a couple of ideas around it. So I think if you really look at what young people are currently doing, you can pretty much divide 24 hours largely into these three activities, which is either on gaming or social media or video. And if you're going to ask them to change their behavior and go outside of this realm to start interacting with healthcare, while, yeah, there will be some people doing it who are very chronic, but most people are not going to engage. So how do you change this? How do you make people who are not thinking of healthcare suddenly start participating in healthcare? And I have a video.
Now turn any time into fitness time with Axis Active. Use your fitness band to make contactless payments, track your fitness, earn Axis Edge reward points, and monitor your progress on the Axis mobile app. Get Axis Active today.
So I think the fundamental thing is if you can somehow connect health to wealth, I think that kind of starts changing the game. And when your bank, who's now telling you that, hey, there is a way for you to start making money by being healthy. Now that sounds like a good motivator to start. And again, this is just one example. Right now, the world of health has many examples on how people are being motivated to make changes, right from eating green vegetables to running or jogging. And I think that's the future model. And the good thing is that the world of wearables and the world of technology which is coming in, the world of wearables, so the current wearable I'm wearing has the capability to measure blood pressure. Apple just announced ECG. And a combination of wearables and implants, we believe that in the next 5 years, 90% of health data will be available almost real time for everybody. Between your mobile phone and a couple of devices, you should be able to get all the data. And when health data becomes ubiquitous, the game changes. The game changes because now people are equipped with a lot of health information. From having no information, waiting to fall sick, then going to a doctor, we are going to suddenly have people with millions of data points around their health. And the best part of this data point is that, just to give you a sense of how large this set is, we believe that each person will have about 1 terabyte of data per year, which is roughly around 500 hours of video. So that's the amount of data you are going to generate on your own health. Clearly, you are not equipped to look at it yourself. So we are talking about a new era of what I call the Internet of Health. What we saw today was the Internet of Information, news, videos. But now with so much health data out there, the Internet of Health combined with what is happening with the traditional healthcare system, the doctors, the hospitals, I think that's going to change. So we believe that artificial intelligence sitting on top of this data, connecting with a doctor, collecting with all these various devices, and that connected to a hospital and various other systems is what you're going to see as healthcare. And like in India, a lot of people never saw the PC. They went directly from no internet and no PC to 4G and mobile phones. We are going to have a system where we are talking about lack of medical infrastructure, and we are going to directly go to people accessing the latest digital health right from their phones. And that's the kind of quantum jump we are going to make. And that leads to 2 very important things. One is personalized medication, where you will no longer be prescribed just one drug. It will be because of your DNA, because of what you are eating. So many parameters could be analyzed, and that's another game changer with 3D printing of medicines. We are also talking about another very interesting era, which is going to disrupt insurance, where we are talking about personalized insurance premium. The whole actuarial model looking at insurance is going to change, because you could look at your own data and predictive analytics could tell you whether you're going to live 20, 50, 100 years, whatever, and your policy and everything can be dynamically created. And we are not too far away from this. This is all what I'm talking about is going to be happening between the next 5 to 10 years. That's how close this is. So just to kind of summarize what we are working on and what we are going to see, I think when we talk of health infrastructure, I hate to see when people talk about hospitals and other things. While they are definitely important, I think the big problem is infrastructure needs to be how people can be active. We are looking at actually having parks and that kind of infrastructure which is going to make people more active. And that's really what is going to change the game. Already, Singapore government has announced incentive for their citizens to be healthy, and that's really where government schemes are coming into play. It's not about treating putting money on the curative side, but on the preventive side. I think this is an important slide you all have to see. I think most people over here who are young, there's a high likelihood that you're all going to live 100 years. I think if you can avoid having diabetes, cholesterol, hypertension for a long time, there is no reason why your life expectancy can't be there. I think the big thing you have to start reimagining yourself, that during your last years, do you want to be on a wheelchair at this lifestyle, or you want to be like Fauja Singh, who started running his marathons at the age of 100? So I think that's really the quantum leap we need to run, assuming that you're all going to live 100 years. Thank you. Thanks a lot.